Hello and welcome again to Ninson Smart Solutions. We're looking at an AS paper. Okay, so this is for the A-level students who want to really do well, especially my students who have been asking me to do the video. So this is the AS paper for summer 2022. I'm looking at the pure paper, and I hope to do 3 videos of this paper. So I'll look at the first part, and then the middle part, and then towards the last part. Okay, so make sure you follow. Ideally, if you have the paper, you could have a go and then watch my solutions to see if you are doing the right thing. I'll try my best to also explain all the intricate details of all the tricks that you may need here. Okay, so make sure you are following. Okay, so I'm sure you've done papers before, you've seen all of these instructions, so I'm going to go straight into the paper. All right, now the first questions of the pure papers are usually on calculus, which is either differentiation or on integration. So this is an integration question. It is an indefinite integral because there's no values given at all to substitute in. Before we do any form of integration, we try to simplify our questions as possible. What I mean by simplifying here is every time you have your x or your variable in the bottom of a fraction, you use indices to rewrite them before you start integrating. Now, because I have not integrated yet, I'm going to try my best to recopy the question, but the second time copying it, I'm just going to make sure every x at the bottom goes up. Okay, so I've got an integral sign, and I've got 8x cubed, and then minus 3 halves. Okay, the square root of x is not supposed to be there, so that should be x to the minus a half. That helps. And then add 5. I'll put this in brackets again. Then it is with respect to x. It's a function of x. So now I'm going to integrate. What that means is I don't need to put the sign anymore. So to integrate, add 1 to the power, then divide by the new power. So I'll have 8x to the power 4, then divide by 4. So remember, add 1 to the power, divide by the new power. Minus 3 over 2x, I'm adding 1 to minus a half, which will be positive a half, and then I'll divide by 1/2. Okay, it's okay to write it like that, don't worry. In fact, you have a calculator, make sure you've got that, so you can always use that to help you to check work. And then add 5 becomes 5x. Don't forget, this is indefinite integral. There are no numbers, so we need to add our c, which is our constant. Now the question says we should make sure our answer is in the simplest form. I'm sure you will agree with me, this is not in the simplest form, so we need to simplify our answer, and the first part will be 2x to the 4. Now the second part will be 6 over 2, which is just gonna be 3. Okay, so we're gonna have minus 3x to the half, and then add 5x at c. Of course, if you're not sure how I converted that to 3, put in your calculator, it will do the work for you. So this will be our final answer. With the A-level paper, there is no answer line, so you just have to make sure you leave your answer, and I want to encourage you to box your answer. It shows clearly this is what you've left it as. Don't worry, there will be more pages for you to continue if you want to. So papers are usually like that. Sometimes it's just like this, it might just be only 3 lines that you need, and that's all. Write as big as possible so it can be read. Okay, now I come to this question 2. By all means, pause the video and have a go. Look at the marks that's awarded each time. It helps you to know how much time you spend and how much time you should not spend. Okay, so for question 2, it says that here's a function, use the factor theorem. Okay, so the factor theorem simply means we should be substituting numbers into the question. So we are not doing the long division. The factor theorem is not long division. So I'm going to write the question and then try to use the factor theorem here. So we've been told that f of x is 2x cubed, add 5x squared, add 2x, add 15. Okay, so A, try to label your questions carefully. Use the factor theorem to show that x plus 3 is a factor. What we try to do here is set this bit equal to 0 and solve for x. So that means our x will be minus 3. So we will be substituting minus 3 into the function to see and hope we get 0. Once that happens, then we say since f of minus 3 is 0, then x plus 3 is a factor, and that's the factor theorem. So because it says we should use to show, that word here, show, simply means prove. So we need to write a statement to show that we've done it. Okay, so we're going to substitute minus 3 into the function. So we're finding f of minus 3. So that means we'll get 2 loss of minus 3 cubed, add 5 loss of minus 3 squared, add 2 loss of minus 3, add 15. Okay, so we're going to try and work it out. So minus 3 cubed is minus 27. You could use your calculator. In fact, you could solve all of this into your calculator, and you'll notice that because the question says show, that you should just write 0, because you know that you eventually get 0, because it says you should use it to show. Okay, so once our answer is 0, we could then say therefore since f of minus 3 equal to 0, comma, then x add 3 is a factor. Okay, and that is done. We've done the question. Easy as that. Okay, no need to worry about it. And the next part says B, so it's good habit to label questions. Okay, it says find the constants a, b, and c such that, okay, so f of x is equal to 2x cubed plus 5x squared plus 2x plus 15, and then the same f of x has been given differently. So let's try and set the two equal to each other. So 2x cubed add 5x squared add 2x add 15 is the same question, the same, written as x add 3 and then ax squared add bx add c. Okay, you can notice immediately from here, and this is very important to pay attention to. You can notice immediately that to get 2x cubed, I need to do this x bit times this bit, for the x and the x squared bit will give me x cubed. Therefore, it makes sense to say that a is 2, because when 2 is there, we'll have x times by 2x squared, giving us 2x cubed. Okay, so this is very similar to identities. Okay, now to get 15, we will notice that this 3 here and this c here, they are the constants that will give us 15. So 3 times by something is 15, and c must be 5. So we know that 3 times 5 is 15. So we've got a, we've got c. The only thing we need to get now is our b. Our b is the coefficient of x, which is this 2 here. We could use that to help us. So how do we get the coefficient of x? We can get the coefficient of x when we are able to make this our x to times this c. That gives us x and c. And then when we are also able to get our 3 times this bx, so the 3 and the bx will give us coefficient of x. So basically we've got c here, we've got c here, and we've got 3b here. The two of them should give us our coefficient of x. So we know c add 3b is 2. Okay, now we know what c is. C is 5, so 5 add 3b is 2. We can now solve for b by minusing 5 from both sides and working our b is, and we can tell that b is minus 1. So immediately we've seen that our a will be 2, our b will be minus 1, and our c will be 5. So it says that we should find the constants, and we found our constants, and this is our answer. You can put a box around it, and that is easy. Okay, so we can then go to the next part of the question, the c part. It says hence show that f of x is equal to 0 has only one root. So I'm going to go to the next page where there's plenty of space for me to write, and I'm going to rewrite f of x now. F of x is x add 3, and then remember we have ax squared. A is 2, so we'll have 2x squared And then we've got add bx. B is minus 1, so minus x. Okay, so we're gonna have minus x. And then we've got add c. C is 5, so add 5. So this is the same f of x. The question says that this f of x, when we set it equal to 0, we will only get one solution, one root. The idea of root suggests the discriminant. Okay, so what that means is we should work out the only root we can solve here is this part. When x add 3 equals 0, we know x will be minus 3. So that's a solution. But what they are saying is this is not likely to be solved. So out of that, we need to use the discriminant. B squared minus 4ac. Okay, so out of that, we know a is 2, b is minus 1, c is 5. So we're going to substitute them into our discriminant. If we get a negative number, it means it has no root. Okay, so let's test that. So we get minus 1 in bracket squared minus 4 loss of 2 and 5. Okay, so that gives me positive 1. That gives me minus 40, and our answer is minus 39, which is less than 0. Okay, so once that is less than 0, since 2x squared minus x plus 5 has no roots, then the only roots is minus 3, and f of x equal to 0 only has one root. Okay, so we have answered the question. The last part says write down the value, write down the real root of the equation f of x minus 5 equal to 0. What that means is, because we know the only root is x add 3, now this x is being replaced by x minus 5. Okay, so we're gonna have x minus 5 add 3. That's the only one we are focusing on, because that is what gave us minus 3. So we got this x minus 5 minus 3. Okay, so x minus 5, which is this bit, and we are adding 3 to then solve. Okay, this gives me x minus 2 equals 0, and x will be 2. So the solution for that D part, remember to label your questions. This is D, so we know this is C, so we label this as D, and that is our answer. Okay, so that's the second question here. All right, so we're looking at the third question. Hopefully you are following and you are getting this. Okay, this third question is on vectors. Vectors question, our advice is always have a sketch of the whole diagram, and then you'll be able to understand better using the resultant rule of vectors. Okay, we've got triangle here, so I'm just gonna draw any triangle. It's just simple, don't need to make it too accurate, just have a sketch. Okay, so we've got a triangle, and we're going to label it. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. So P, Q, and R, because it's triangle P, Q, R. Then we will label based on what we've been given on the question. We've been told that PQ, vector PQ, is 3i add 5j. Vector PR is 13i minus 15j. Okay, so to answer the first question A, it says we should find vector QR. So that has not been constructed for us, so we need to look at it from Q to R. I can go that way, which is Q to P, and then from P I can drive to R. Okay, so Q to P is the negative vector of PQ. Okay, so negative means going the opposite direction, which is minus 3i minus 5j. Add, and then we know we go in the same direction from P to R, which is 13i minus 15j. So now we are solving it. We're just looking at the i's, collecting the like terms. Minus 3i plus 13j is 10i. Minus 5j minus 15j is minus 20j. And that becomes our answer for vector QR. And then the B part is saying we should find the magnitude. That symbol means magnitude. And it says you give your answer in the simplified said form. Okay, so magnitude. So the magnitude, I need to get it done properly. So the magnitude of vector QR will be the Pythagoras, which is 10 squared plus minus 20 squared. Okay, so 10 squared is 100 minus 20 squared is 400, which then gives us 500. Okay, so in the said form it will be 10 root 5 units, and that's our answer for the B part of the question. The C part of the question is talking about linking everything with ratios. Okay, so we're gonna try and put this on. So it says the point S lies on the line segment QR, so that Q to S to the ratio SR is 3 to 2. So let's make an assumption that S is somewhere here. So this is 3 parts and this is 2 parts. Okay, so we want to drive our car such that we can drive from P right to our S. Don't forget, from Q to R we already worked it out as 10i minus 20j. Okay, so to drive from P to S, I can go from P to Q and then from Q to S. Okay, so our C part, from P to S we're going to drive from P to Q, and then from Q we're going to drive to S. Okay, we know P to Q is 3i add 5j, so we're going to write that down. 3i add 5j. Add Q to S is 3/5 of Q to R, so we got 3/5 of our Q to R, which is 10i minus 20j. Okay, so if we simplify our answer now, we get 3i add 5j add 3/5 of 10. You can use your calculator, which is 6i. Then 3/5 of 20 is gonna be 12, so minus 12j. When we simplify this, we'll get 9i minus 7j, and that's our answer. Okay, so we'll call this the first part of this paper. We've done 3 good solid questions, and hopefully you got them all right. Thank you for watching. Continue to subscribe to Ninson's Math Solutions, share, give me a very good comment if you love the video, and please continue to go through the second part of the paper. This was going to come. Look out for this. Thank you for watching.